Hello, everyone. I want to walk you through how your analytics practicum is assessed end to end. There are four submissions that make your final grade: the proposal presentation, the progress draft submission in the IEEE format, and the 3-minute video submission of the progress, and also the final Viva plus paper submission. Let's look at them in detail. Just to repeat that structure once more before we get into numbers: proposal presentation, progress draft, the 3-minute video, and the final Viva plus paper. They are not separate submissions. They build on each other. So don't don't remove one of them. So we have to do all of them. Doing the early ones well sets you up for the good grades. If you move on, let's start assigning the marks. Assume the practicum is worth 100 marks in total. Your proposal presentation accounts for 20 of those marks. That's the first checkpoint. And it matters because it's where you lock in your problem statement and approach before doing the heavy analytical work. Now, in your progress draft submitted in IEEE format, that carries 10 marks. This is a smaller weight, but don't treat it as a formality. It is where you demonstrate your actual progress, and it gives your supervisor or the advisor a chance to redirect you before it is too late to change the course. Now, the big ones are your 3-minute video and your Viva together, they carry 50 marks, half of your total grade. The remaining 20 marks, once you subtract 50 from for the video and the Viva, 10 for the progress draft and 20 for the proposal, you will get 20. So that 20 will be your final research report, which is also the extension of your draft submission done in IEEE format. So that's the nature of your marking. And let's break that 50 marks figure down further because it's actually two separate submissions in the case of 3-minute video and the Viva, which works out to be the physical presentation, and the defense will carry 30 marks. So it is 60% of that part of the entire thing, 3-minute video and the Viva. So I want to stress particularly one thing clearly. Both of these must be completed. If you miss either one, you receive an incomplete grade for this portion, regardless of how well you did the other. So you have to do both. Now let's go through submission one in detail, which is the 3-minute video. Think of this video as an executive summary of your entire project. It is not a technical deep dive. It is the pitch you give to a time constrained senior audience, a broad, let's say a broad overview to the board or a client or an investor. So what we are really testing here is whether you can distill months of complex analytical work into 3 minutes of clear, impactful communication. To do that well, your video needs to go and touch four things. First, the business or research problem. What is the issue? Why does it matter? Who's the stakeholder? Then second part is your data and methodology, what data you used and what techniques you used and why those were the right choices. Then the third one is your key findings, the actual results, ideally backed by the numbers, visuals or comparisons. And fourth, the actionable outcomes. What should the client actually do with this? What is the practical value of the work? So you don't need to hit these in that exact order. A natural narrative that weaves all four together works just as well and often pays better on the screen. So it's good. A few things to deliberately leave out of this video. Keep any personal introduction to one sentence at most. We don't need your stories, like the unnecessary parts. Skip the detailed literature review that belongs in your written report, not a 3 minute pitch. So no acknowledgements, no references, no appendices. There's simply no time for them in the 3 minute video. And don't spend any of your time in the 3 minutes apologizing for what you didn't get to do. So focus entirely on what you did accomplish and tell this as a nice story, a narrative. Now, the time limit is strict, and I want to be very direct about this. The hard cap is 3 minutes, three exactly, and timing starts from your very first frame, including any title slide, anything after the 3 minute mark will not be graded. There's no grace period, no benefit of the doubt. Mainly, I would say you can end it maybe somewhere from 2 minutes 45 seconds to 55 seconds somewhere, so that you have a safety margin for the pace that you like to deliver. And remember, from the last slide, there is no fixed order required. A very well woven narrative covering all four elements is completely acceptable. And on the technical side, export your video as an MP4 if you are good with Handbrake or any software that can minimize the size of the video. You can directly upload that to the Moodle. That's fine. But often, which is not the case, MP4, MOV, or AVI type of videos, you might need to share it separately, like submit it to a perhaps to a YouTube video and then submit the customized link to the upload link, or you can put a Google Drive link there. Resolution should be at least 720 to 1080p because that is what makes the text and the other things clear. Keep it, you can definitely do it less than 500 megabytes, but try to make it neat and less in terms of the size. If you can use a Handbrake or some compression software, that is really perfectly fine. You can your narration needs to be clear. If you are using background music, make sure it never competes with your voice, because your voice is the important thing. Whatever visuals you use, slides, dashboards, screen recordings, charts, make sure all text is actually legible, and the video must be in English. Captions are encouraged but not required. And then you can think about a quick word on AI tools, because this comes up every time when we look at it. You are welcome to use tools like District or Element Labs or whatever the tool that you like, but only for the production work, editing, captioning, noise reduction, and those kind of things. The actual intellectual content, which is your problem framing, your analysis, your findings, your recommendations, has to be yours only. Using AI to generate the analytical narrative itself is treated as academic misconduct. So if you are trying to use that, please make sure that is only for the quality of the video, not in terms of the analysis that you are doing. If you do use AI for production, just note it briefly at the end of your video, maybe like edited using some sort of software, or use this for this and that. That's purely for transparency and won't affect your grading. The main thing would be, do not use AI for analysis. Primarily use AI for the beautifying and the editing parts. Now, here's how those 20 marks for the video would break down. Time compliance is 10, problem clarity is 15, methodology coverage is 20, findings and outcomes, the heaviest single criterion is 30. But at this instance, if you don't have serious findings, but still you can, you know, decide how you narrate it, you can do wonders with your narration. So it's not about what you actually completed at the end, but your journey and how actually you look at the problem. But that has to come as a narrative connecting the dots. So, and communication quality, round it up to up around 25% or 25 marks. And that are all the things at up to 100, which then get scaled down to the 20 marks or 40%. This submission contributes your overall grade. And let's move on to submission two, the physical presentation and the defense, which is the most important part of these two components. This component goes well beyond what you covered in the video. It is where we expect real depth, rigor, and defensibility. Specifically, you should be ready to justify your methodological choices, including the alternatives you considered and why you rejected them. You should critically evaluate your own results, openly discussing limitations and possible sources of error. You should be able to speak to the generalizability and scalability of your approach. Would this work elsewhere at a large scale? And you need to clearly address whatever assumptions you made along the way, and that would be the most important thing. All of that, the methodological justification, the critical evaluation, the discussion of the generalizability, the assumptions, is what separates a strong defense from a weak one. With that expectation set, let's look at how the session itself is structured. Now, your slot runs for about 20 minutes in total, including transition time between presenters. Within that, you get 10 minutes for your formal slide-based walkthrough of your outcomes, followed by 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A, where the panel discussions or the questions you will be directed with. Plan your content to fit comfortably inside that 10-minute window. Don't write a 20-minute presentation and try to rush through it. So make sure that you are comfortable with what you are going to present. For your slides, PowerPoint or PDF format should be the ideal way. If you are using Canva, make sure that it is not on the web, it is in the PDF format or PowerPoint format. Google site is also acceptable only if you have confirmed that you will have reliable internet connectivity. Don't gamble on that during the defense. So make sure that everything is in perfect condition and you can present confidently. Aim for somewhere between 8 to 12 slides, which at roughly 60 to 80 seconds each fits naturally into our 10-minute slots. Body text should be at least 24 point, heading at least 32 point. This is the text size. Remember, this will be projected, so legibility from the back of the room matters. You don't need to submit these slides in advance. Just bring them in on a USB or have them as a cloud backup, maybe Google Drive or OneDrive, wherever you can download at that point. And you make sure that you have it in your computer so that you can on the go do it, because the time is of essence in this particular activity. The defense carries 30 marks for technical rigor, how accurate, appropriate, and deep your methodology and results actually are. Critical evaluation, your ability to identify limitations, assumptions, and areas for future improvement. It is worth 20 marks. Defense and mastery, meaning the quality of your answers under questioning, is also 30. And communication and delivery is 15. And professionalism, that is for dress, punctuality, conduct, rounds it out at around 5 marks. Together, that's 100. Scale to the 60%, which means 30 marks. This component contributes to the overall subject marks. I know this is on a lot of minds, so let's address it directly. What if your results were negative or inconclusive? That does not disqualify you from a high grade. What we are evaluating is the rigor of your process and how soundly you interpret whatever results you actually got. If you can correctly diagnose why your model underperformed and propose a sensible remediation plan, that demonstrates stronger analytical mastery than someone who got good numbers but can't explain why. Keep that in mind. It's not always about getting some outcome, it's about the process. A quick note on dress code, since this is part of your professionalism mark: business suits, formal shirts or blouses, formal trousers or skirts, and formal traditional wear such as sari or national dress are all acceptable. Jeans, t-shirts, and casual footwear, um, I don't think they are acceptable in a professional presentation. So make sure that you show your best self. If you show up underdressed, you may be moved to a lesser slot, like later slot, like the presentation will be done later, or you may simply lose marks under the professionalism criteria. So on equipment, there will be a projector and a connected laptop provided in the room. Still bring your files on a USB drive and in your computer. That would be much better. And also, if they are in the cloud, make sure that you have internet to download them at that instance. If your presentation includes a live demo, a dashboard, and interactive models such as like a Power BI visualization dashboard or a website that you create, make sure it can run offline or in low connectivity because we can't guarantee a stable connection on the day. A screen recording of that demo is perfectly acceptable, more reliable alternative. And one practical note, the department is responsible for compatibility issues on your end. So if you are at all unsure, test your files on a Windows machine beforehand and bring them in your in your laptop and in a USB drive better. Let's run through a quick FAQ questions. Do you need to show your face in the 3-minute video? It's encouraged, not mandatory. Clear voiceover is fine. Can you reuse the same slides for both submissions? Yes, as a base, but the physical presentation needs to add depth beyond what is in the 3-minute video. Will you know the Q&A questions in advance? No. Your best preparation is simply knowing your own project thoroughly. What if you can't attend in person? Now, that is important. Notify the coordinator immediately with with your question, your reason for being absent, or why you can't be physically present. Via an email, clearly mention why this is. So probably the department will take necessary actions to allow you to do this final presentation and why. Acknowledge the limitations honestly and describe how we would go about addressing it if you can't answer a question. And the most important thing is relax and enjoy your presentation because this makes a lot of it brings a lot of confidence, makes the analyst you will be out of this program. So enjoy and do your best. So let me leave you with the key reminders. You need to submit and attend both components. There's no partial credit for skipping one. If your video runs even few seconds over or have issues, then probably you'll lose marks and probably will not consider very long videos in the case of 3-minute video. And make sure that your backups, your laptops and USBs and cloud access are all up and running and available on the day. So good luck with your analytics practicum.